everyone! If you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, then you've probably already noticed that there is a new addition to the family. His name is Uni. Hey. It's been a long time since my husband and I have had a kitten, so it's been an interesting past few days. Of course, he loves playing and he loves to play with anything, so I've been buying and trying to make a bunch of toys for him to keep him occupied. And most recently, I made a springy type of cat toy for him, which I'm going to show you guys how to make today. It has like a wooden base and then a spring coming out of the middle with like a toy on the top, and it flops around while they play with it. Judging by Uni's response to it, it's a pretty successful cat toy. He loves playing with it, so I'm excited to show you guys how to make it. So let's get started. You'll need a square piece of wood. I used some scrap that I had from older projects. Mine was about 7 by 7 by 3/4 inch. Some fleece fabric, matching thread, some carpet. You can normally find remnant carpet at big hardware stores. I had bought some a while ago for a different project, and I've used the extra bits for other projects. A spring. I'm using a spring that I found at the hardware store. It's made for screen doors. It stays straight on its own, but it bends easily, which is exactly what I wanted. Pliers, an electric stapler, a drill, pins, a safety pin, scissors, a box cutter, a pencil, a marker, and a ruler. Using the pliers on one end of the spring, bend some of the metal to make the last loop bigger. Be careful, the metal in the spring is probably hardened, so it'll break instead of bending if you try to bend it too fast or too much, like this. If you do end up breaking a little bit off, it's not a big deal. You can just restart from that broken part, which is what I had to do. It took me a while, but eventually I was able to make the loop this big, just big enough to work. Now, take your fleece and cut it so that it's wide enough to completely envelop the spring, plus a little bit more for seam allowance, and a few inches longer than the spring. Pin it together and sew that edge up. Now flip it right side out. Here's a trick to help flip out really thin tubes of fabric. Attach a safety pin to the edge of one of the ends, and push the safety pin into the tube and thread it through. Cut a strip of fleece that's about 1/2 by 7 inches. Fold it in half and push the folded end 1/4 of an inch into one of the ends of the tube. Sew along the top edge of the tube. Thread the fabric onto the spring with the bigger loop at the bottom, which is the opened end of the tube. Cut about 8 more strips, 1/2 by 6 inches, and stack them on top of each other. Stitch them together in the middle. Set these aside as you put together the base. Find the center of the wood by drawing a line diagonally from one corner to the next, and then repeating that on the other side. Use a drill bit that is slightly bigger than the spring. Initially, I drilled a hole that was exactly the same size as the spring, so it fit snugly, but of course, it didn't fit once I covered the spring with fabric, so I had to go up one more bit size and widen the hole. Put the wood onto the back of the carpet and cut the carpet down to size. You want enough to be able to pull it around to the back. I gave myself about 2.5 inches on each side. Then cut a square out of each corner, like so. Use a marker to mark where the hole is onto the carpet, and then cut an X that's just big enough to fit the spring through. Put the wood back onto the carpet, flip one of the flaps up and onto the back, and staple it down. Flip the opposite flap onto the back and staple. Repeat for the other 2 flaps. From the bottom, push the fleece-covered spring through the hole. Feel where the big loop is and staple it down. I added another staple for good measure. Then lay the extra fleece down, staple it, and cut the excess off. I was worried that Uni would pull the carpet up and rip the middle since it has a hole there, so I put 2 staples on either side as close to the spring as I could. Now grab the fleece strips that you sewed together. Place it in the middle of the strip that's sewn onto the spring and tie it on. You can really add whatever toy that you want here. You just have to attach it after you push the spring through the base. And here it is, all finished. I hope you all enjoyed this week's video. If you did, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, then feel free to subscribe. I post drawing and painting videos every Tuesday, and DIY videos every Thursday. If you want to see any more of my other cat-related videos, then I'll leave a link to those somewhere on the screen right now. You can follow me on Twitter, Tumblr, Instagram, or Pinterest, and I'll leave the information to those down below. If you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you next week.